Hello and welcome to the Random House Children's Book Fall 2026 preview. I'm Julia Smith, Booklist's Books for Youth Senior Editor. Before we begin, I'd like to go over some technical details. Today's slide presentation and title list were included in the reminder email you received from Zoom 1 hour ago. To download them, please open that email, scroll to the bottom, and click on the links located there. You may also ask for the links in the Q&A box, and we would be happy to share them with you. If you have any trouble, please contact us at webinars@booklistonline.com. The audience is in listen-only mode, but we welcome any questions you may have. On the bottom of your screen is a toolbar with a section for Q&A. If you have a question or need technical assistance, simply click Q&A and type your message into the box that appears. We will do our best to respond to all tech-related questions, and we'll pass along all other questions to today's panelists so they can follow up with you after the webinar. And if you are hearing an echo, please check to see if you have two Zoom windows open. Closing one of these windows will remove that echo. We apologize for this tech glitch, and we are working with Zoom to fix it. Booklist offers closed captioning on all webinars. To enable or disable them on your screen, please look for and click the Show Captions icon on the toolbar mentioned earlier. If you choose to enable subtitles, you can adjust the size of them at any time by selecting Caption Settings. Thanks to our partners at Random House Children's Books, we are thrilled to offer live ASL interpretation for this event. Many thanks to our interpretation team for joining us today. And finally, Booklist expects all participants to maintain an atmosphere of respect and fairness. Anyone who violates this standard of behavior, including engaging in any form of harassment, may, at the discretion of the organizers, be immediately removed. We have a wonderful program planned for you today, and we'll hear about Random House Children's Books' fantastic Fall 2026 list a little later in the program. But first, we are thrilled to begin today's webinar with a conversation. So without further ado, let's meet our panelists and learn about their new books. First up is Nicholas Day. Nicholas is the author of Mona Lisa Vanishes, winner of the Robert F. Seibert Award and the Boston Globe Horn Book Award for Nonfiction. He is also the author of the picture book Nothing, which received 3-starred reviews, and the adult narrative nonfiction title Baby Meets World. He has written regularly for Slate. His work has also appeared in The Atlantic, The New York Times, and The Washington Post, among other publications. He lives in Western Massachusetts with his family. Welcome, Nicholas. Please tell us about your new book, A Riddle of Eels.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. Well, we've long had a parliament of owls and a murder of crows, and now we have a riddle of eels. And we mean this title very literally. This book is about a riddle. It's about our attempts, our many failed attempts, to answer the question of where eels come from, what eels are doing, where eels go when they're lost to us. This is a story about these marvelous creatures, but above all, it's a story about how much there is to marvel at in the world and how much still remains to be known.
Thank you so much. Next, we will hear from Suzanne and Max Lang. Suzanne and Max are the team behind the #1 New York Times best-selling Grumpy Monkey series of books. When they're not working on books, they work in animation, often collaborating on screenplays for animated specials. Max also directs some of those specials, and his work has won him 2 Emmys for Room on the Broom and Zog, 3 BAFTAs for The Gruffalo, Room on the Broom, and The Snail and the Whale, and 2 Oscar nominations for The Gruffalo and Room on the Broom. And they are here today to talk about Dragon Dog. Thanks for being here, Suzanne and Max.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Hello.
So, our newest book is Dragon Dog, and it is an adventure story about an evil wizard who sets off to create a dragon that will be as loyal as a dog so it can do his bidding, but instead he creates a dog that is as fierce as a dragon. He's very upset with his creation. He banishes Dragon Dog, and poor Dragon Dog sets out into the world trying to figure out where he belongs, only to come up against one antagonist after another. Dragon Dog is always up for a fight. He's very staunchly, shout, I'm fierce, not fluffy. And he's only running into foes until he meets a lost little lamb named Dandelion. And in meeting Dandelion, she helps Dragon Dog to embrace his fluffy side, while I would say he helps her to tap into her fierce side. Um, and in so doing, Dragon Dog winds up finding the place he belongs, which is with Dandelion's flock.
Wonderful. Thank you guys. And I believe we'll also get to hear a little bit about the newest Grumpy Monkey later in our conversation. And finally, we are joined by Julia Sarcone-Roach. Julia writes and illustrates picture books. She is the author and illustrator of The Bear Ate Your Sandwich, which won the 2016 Ezra Jack Keats New Writer Honor and was a New York Times bestseller. Julia grew up in Arlington, Virginia, studied film and animation at the Rhode Island School of Design, and now lives in Brooklyn, New York, where she paints pictures, eats sandwiches, and looks for bears. Thanks for being here, Julia. Please tell us about the island.
Hi. The Island is a book about big feelings and understanding that none of us are alone. A little boy, feeling overwhelmed, climbs into a boat and is swept away to the island. He's found himself there before, feeling sad and fearful. But this time, he ventures further and discovers something new, the footprints of a child. He follows them and meets a girl who tells him that the island is not for escaping, but rather exploring feelings. And here, none of us are truly alone. He's able to accept and move through his feelings and find his way home.
All right, thank you so much. All these intros were awesome. Let's talk a little more depth about the books. If all of our authors and illustrators can turn on their cameras, and we will just have a nice little chat. Thank you all for being here. I have had the pleasure of reading all your books, and at first I was like, oh my gosh, they're so different. What all are we going to talk about? But I mean, that's part of the fun. And then once you sit and think, there are commonalities. So I will just sort of bounce around to each of you, but feel free to hop in if there's something you'd like to say or share when I'm talking about something with someone. I love it when that happens. So we are not a formal situation here. All right. So I think Nicholas may start with you. But everyone, I just want to touch on sort of the either inspiration or creative process in your works. So we'll begin there. And Nicholas Eels. Eels was a surprise to see for me. that this was what you chose to write about. When did they kind of reveal themselves to you as being worthy of a book that needed to be written?
Right. Well, eels, I think, are easily underestimated creatures, and I think often avoided. Uh, but when you step back and look at them, they are the sort of creature that is, it has a story that feels almost too incredible, too unlikely to be real. It feels like it must be fiction. It has all the majesty and the mystery of a story that we've made up. Um, and I was thinking about the great David Attenborough, who just turned 100, and who, of course, made documentaries like Planet Earth and made a career out of finding these creatures, these sort of almost extraterrestrial beings that happen to exist on our planet. Um, but eels would make a very poor subject for a documentary because they're hidden down there in the muck. They're covered by all the silt, they're stirring up the dirt. And so we have to tell their stories for them. And so this book is about that, and I'll touch on this later as well. But it's also about the ways in which they've resisted our many attempts to tell their story. And in some ways, I think they're the unlikely creature that I think best represents how stubbornly unknowable much of our world still is to us. And I think, as a child, knowing that there's still things out there to discover and that there are mysteries still to solve for you is a tremendously sort of like, it's a bit of a spark of a feeling.
Oh, I muted myself. Absolutely. Um, I think sort of that idea of mystery, um, and curiosity are a big part of the island as well, Julia. I was seeing those things very much in the story. And as the illustrator, you had to do a lot of storytelling, kind of beyond the words in this book. And it's, as you mentioned, it's about big feelings. And I imagine that can be kind of hard to translate, or it's not a straightforward translation. Maybe that's better, um, into an image. So, how did you go about doing that for this?
Well, it's kind of funny. Some of the images actually came first. I went through a period of having trouble sleeping, particularly during the pandemic, like most of us, and I would get up in the middle of the night and make these dark, inky landscapes. And eventually I posted a few of those to Instagram during Inktober, which is when people put up ink artwork for every day during October. And the author, Gideon Sturrer, saw one of those and reached out to me and said, had I ever thought about making a book in this style? And I was very interested. He sent me a manuscript about a month or so later, and that was the beginning of The Island. The challenge really became how to translate these small, low stakes pieces of art I'd made on my own into large, final, real art for the book.
Oh, that's interesting. Um, all right, we'll get back to some of that in a moment, but I want to hop over to Suzanne and Max, um, who have departed the world of Grumpy Monkey here, carrying all the humor with them, which readers will be ecstatic to see. But I did see a little something about like a more personal origin story to this one that I would love for you to share with us all.
Sure.
Well, the book is partly inspired by one of our dogs. His name is Chance.
Wait,
Uh,
there he is.
and when he was a puppy, the dog rescue he came from, like, he was in really bad shape, and they took him to three different vets. And the first two said, well, we have to put him down. He was like that sick. And the third one said, well, let's give him a chance. and he made it, and that's how he found his name. Or to say he had been through a lot when he was a little puppy. And you can see that he's a very fluffy, very cute dog, but he has some aggression issues. And that partly inspired the character of Dragon Dog, who's also very fluffy and very cute, but has some things to work through.
Definitely. And I think maybe kids in particular are gonna relate to this character because, it's easy to be dismissed when you're little and cute. And you can be fierce. And so I think that's a core to this. And so where should we go next? Now, I want to hear more about this while we're with you. Um, so you've turned it into like this fun adventure story. And so you've got the the he's almost like a Frankenstein, where like the creature goes wrong and
Yeah,
then it's
yeah,
gonna
it's
be
definitely that
out.
moment. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. But how are you using humor, would you say, in this story to like connect with your audience or tell maybe a story that has a little more substance to it than you notice right away?
Well, it always starts with the heart of the story, really. And it's often like I tell Suzanne an idea, and I don't know, maybe it's my German nature in that too, and then I focus so much on the heart and the sincerity, and it never sounds funny when I tell it to her. Sounds tragic and traumatic.
Yeah.
Um, but in my head, it's funny. I don't know. You can speak more to that, but so the humor is really, really important to us to say that because I
Yeah.
think that's what makes readers come back to it too.
The
Because
books.
yeah,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. It's the same, similar with Grumpy Monkey. They're often misfit characters who struggle with the world and their surroundings for different reasons, and I guess we can relate to that. And I feel like humor is a big part of how we deal with that, and it helps you through these things too. But yeah.
Yeah. I think for us, silly is an important aspect to our storytelling. Um, as parents, we're conscious that when we're reading books, when our kids are older now, but when we were reading picture books with our kids, if we were laughing together, that becomes such a gateway it's an icebreaker. And suddenly from the laughter, you can open the door to maybe a more tricky conversation about when you lost your temper and hit that child and shouldn't have, this kind of a thing. So I think it's just such an important part of our our style in storytelling. And it just becomes, yes, whenever Max has a core idea for a book, it is true. It sounds very heavy in its core. And I'm always like, what? But if he shows me a sketch, the sketch is always silly. And then I'm like, okay, okay. And then we have a nice way of complimenting each other, I think. And I can then run with some of these core ideas and find the characters' voices. And in doing that, find the character comedy and the silly. But the silly is always in those drawings too. I mean, you bring a lot of silly yourself. So anyway.
Definitely. Nicholas, you also employ humor in your book. I would say the tone um, is quite funny. And it also works very well with the things that Corey Tabor has done in the illustrations. Um, was was that just sort of like a natural development, like how you both operate? Did you decide to use the humor in this particular story?
Yeah, well, this book is sort of, I mean, I think maybe a lot of my books are this way, is it's an admixture of tone, right? But obviously humor is always a really important element. And what Corey did is, I think, really underline at every point in the process where there was, you know, and it's always so funny to talk about humor so seriously, but at every point in the process where there was potential for comedy or there's sort of a little lightness to kind of highlight that, to bring it out. And so I think the book, which is about some very large questions, has throughout this kind of impish glow to it that Corey gives it. Um, and so yeah, I'd say that humor is very important.
Definitely. Thank you. Um, Julia, I want to get back to we're talking about like sort of these ways to connect with the stories, and humor was one of the vehicles and these others, but yours, it has those like, it's big imagery, it's hard things to maybe articulate. Was it hard for you to sort of put these in to terms or scenes that you felt like kids were gonna get? And like, I don't know, can you talk about like making it like your audience for this story?
Certainly. I think the medium helped a lot with the feelings in this one. Both the mood of this book and the style of the art were pretty new for me. Besides those little paintings I'd done, I hadn't done a lot of work in watercolor or ink. So that was really a journey for myself. My previous books were mostly done in a brighter style with acrylic paint, and the art for the island was all done in watercolor, and the mood is obviously darker. What I love about watercolor is it has this will of its own. It can bloom and spread in unexpected ways, creating an emotional atmosphere, and it lended itself well to showing kind of a child's internal weather.
Absolutely. But you also make really interesting use of colors in the story. For our attendees who haven't maybe gotten to see the book yet, can you talk just a little bit about how you pulled that into the storytelling?
Yes. Part of the challenge that I really enjoyed was how the color could change during the story to reflect the boy's feelings. When he sets sail, the world is still in color, but after arriving on the island, all of the pages are in Payne's gray, this deep blue black, as his world loses color. And once the boy feels relief towards the end, the color begins to creep back in.
It's so beautifully done and like really effective. And I think that's another way that just makes it make sense in maybe a kid's perspective, like the child reader. They see that it is like a sunny or brighter state of being. And I think that's one way that it can, like, it's not going to go above their heads. Sometimes you see these lofty ideas beautifully put into a picture book, but you're like, that's not for kids. But I do think that kids are going to find this one, and it will speak to them. Um, so let us now turn to, let me look at my questions here. Well, yes. So we'll stick to the island for a second because the story there, it has this whole idea of the island being a place to explore rather than escape. And that's sort of a central idea to it. And um, so, kind of that, it's a hard thing. I think it's a hard thing for adults, even to um, have to face their more vulnerable side. Um, And that is also something that you see in the dragon dog because you've got like the fluffy versus the fierce, and it's they're almost at an inverse of each other here. We've got the boy on the island who needs to kind of get in touch with like maybe um harder feelings, less nice feelings, and Dragon Dog, who loves the hard stuff and doesn't want to get into the soft stuff. Um, and I think that's really fun. But if either of you has something to say, the Langs or Julia, about sort of this emotional tension and things to your
I think that for some kids, but for some people, the soft stuff is the hard stuff. And that's a lot of what's, at the core of Dragon Dog, the fact that being in touch with his fluffy side is he doesn't want that. He's putting all the toughness and the bravado forward. And it's for him, it's the soft things that don't come as easy. Conversely, Dandelion, which is the little lamb that helps him, um, it's the opposite for her, because we're all a study of contrasts, and we all have conflicting emotions and different identities. And I think, in our book, representing that with these two characters who kind of having the opposite issues, dealing with the same feelings, but in opposite ways, is something that we hope will resonate.
for sure.
I think both books really are kind of about vulnerability and being able to experience both being strong and being soft. And I think The Island has a little bit of that too. And we all live in a world of big feelings, whatever they are, and they can be overwhelming, especially for children. So I do hope readers of all ages will connect with the messages here and remember to look for light and color and remember that none of us are alone in being vulnerable.
That is excellent. I can't believe it's almost time for us to wrap up this section because I feel like we've just gotten started. Um, but I'd like to hear maybe one more thing from all of you, just sort of generally that you would like, if I haven't touched on it yet, that you would like our audience to know about your books, or just sort of like these core values. We've got curiosity and mystery and wonder and emotion running through all of them on this full spectrum. And I love that. So I don't know, Nicholas, is there anything more you would like our audience to know?
Well, I think, part of what's going on in A Riddle of Eels is we're trying to communicate just what a wild romp of a place the world is, right? And that the story of eels and the story of our attempts to understand them is, something of a wild ride. And I always loved as a child that feeling that there was still space for me in the world, that there were things that weren't yet settled. And I also loved, um, childhood is a long nightmare of other people being right. And this story is really about people being wrong constantly, like comically wrong, serially wrong, um, and the way that eels have resisted our attempts to understand them. And so I think it's very satisfying to read a book that is full of information about the world, but is also a story about the many ways in which other people, have tried to reckon with something and failed. And so this is a book that I think can have sort of when I talk about it, part of what I sometimes say is that I wanted to write a book that was about everything we didn't know about the world. So sort of a, the old world for nonfiction books for children is informational books, right? And so a little bit of what I wanted to do was write an informational book where there's a gap where the information part should be. Um, and uh, and so the story of eels is perfect for that because we do now know quite a bit about eels, but they're so stubbornly other, and they've made fools of us at every turn. Um, and so, hopefully that kind of comic journey is something that children will enjoy.
Thank you. Julia, anything more about the island?
Yeah, I think I went through sort of an emotional journey with the art with this one, going up a learning curve, figuring out watercolor, and part of the magic of bookmaking for me is making everything by hand, all the art, and watercolor can be a bit unforgiving. So I had to keep starting over, and I had some of the feelings that are demonstrated in the book while making it. And I felt it was nice to get to the end and kind of see the sunset and the colors again. So it was a lovely experience, but a journey.
Yes, thank you. And Suzanne and Max, can you either share something more about Dragon Dog, or even if you want to talk about your latest Grumpy Monkey book, that is also great and a good time for it.
Or, well, let's sneak peek the next two Grumpy Monkey books. The first one is going to be a step into reading, so a leveled reader. Looks like this, but it isn't this because I don't have it yet. This is just a printout. Here it is, Grumpy Monkey, the Best Present. That one's coming out in July, on July 14th, which has been declared by the esteemed team at Penguin Random House Marketing. July 14th is Chimpanzee's birthday, since that is the day that this book about, and it turns out coincidentally World Chimpanzee Day. So that's this one. It's a very, I think it's a very silly one where he gets a present that he doesn't want, and it's like, how do you react when somebody's really excited to give you something and you don't want it? And it ends with, if I can find that last illustration, Max, because it is so disgusting. Marabou loves to eat old meat, and she gives Jim old meat. And sorry, I don't, this is so clunky, but there she is, devouring the old meat that she gave Chimpanzee that he didn't want. I just love that drawing. And then the other Grumpy Monkey book that's coming out later this year is coming out in November. It's a board book. There's been a lot of buzz about this one. It is bound to make a splash. Grumpy Monkey Poop. So we were asked to do a toilet training book, and here it is.
Oh my goodness, what a treat. Thank you all so much. It really was wonderful to talk with you all today. You're free to turn off your cameras at this point, and I'm going to hand it over to the team at Random House Children's Books to tell us more about their fall titles.
Oh, okay, so a heartfelt thank you to Suzanne Lang, Max Lang, Julia Sarcone-Roach, and Nicholas Day for joining us today. It's always a pleasure to hear from you all, and I'm sure the attendees are now eagerly anticipating each one of the releases of your phenomenal books. Okay, now to change gears just a little bit. My name is Erica Trotta, the manager of library marketing at Random House Children's Books, and I truly appreciate you taking the time to be here. Now I'll hand things over to Michelle Campbell to begin our title presentations.
Thank you, Erica, and hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Campbell, Assistant Director of School Marketing for Random House Children's Books, and I'm excited to be kicking things off today by sharing some picture books with you. Next slide, please. Comedian Pete Holmes brings his signature humor to this interactive picture book. where readers can take control of story time. Kids cast silly little spells on the grown-ups reading aloud, leading to laugh out loud moments full of animal noises, gibberish, and all kinds of magical chaos. A wisecracking dragon and plenty of call and response moments keep things lively, making this a strong pick for read alouds everywhere. This is really for fans of the book with no pictures. They're going to love the high energy performance aspect. And of course, beneath all of the humor, it also leans into imagination, confidence, and what it really means to embrace being a kid. Next slide, please. If readers are in the mood for a picture book that they can keep coming back to, Wake Up Poppyville is a really fun pick from Vicky Chu. It takes readers into a whimsical nighttime town filled with quirky characters, hidden surprises, and lots of little details that make them want to slow down and take everything in. There's always something new to spot, which naturally leads to those, did they see that kinds of conversations. Her cut paper artwork also gives the world a fresh, handmade feel that is really a standout technique. If readers enjoy the playful, busy world vibe of Busy, Busy Town, this one will feel familiar in the best way. There's a lot going on, but it's still easy and fun to explore as everything comes together in a charming, imaginative setting. Next slide. Bear Wakes Up delivers plenty of laughs as an anxious bear emerges from hibernation to a winter world he doesn't recognize, and he quickly starts to jump to conclusions. With expressive illustrations, sharp humor, and a gentle message about adapting to change, this charming debut is a wonderful choice for winter story times and for fans of Grumpy Monkey. Next slide, please. The Warm Fuzzies is a charming read aloud packed with laughs, heart, and adorable chaos. Darren Farrell's story of multiplying fuzzies in a town learning to share is full of fun, and the art is just an added extra cozy appeal. With a gentle message about kindness and community, it's a great fit for Valentine's Day displays, social emotional learning connections, and story times. Now over to Katie Dutton.
Hi, everyone. My name is Katie Dutton, and I am the digital marketing manager for the school and library team. Everybody knows the buddy system, the setup where your teacher pairs you with a classmate for a quick trip to the bathroom or a day-long field trip. And the most important rule is do not lose your buddy. If you're lucky, you'll get paired with a best friend. But what happens if you're not so lucky? That's just what happens in this very funny picture book from Sam Wedlick about two very opposite kids who get lost on a class trip to the museum and discover that friendship can form in the most unexpected places. It's filled with witty dialogue and relatable classroom humor. The buddy system highlights kindness, teamwork, and sticking up for others in a fun, accessible way that kids will love. Next slide. Dive into Earth's biggest nursery, the ocean, in Sea Babies, a stunning picture book from National Geographic Kids. Renowned oceanographer Sylvia Earle and acclaimed National Geographic photographer Brian Scarry combine their expertise to introduce young readers to the most adorable babies in the sea, from tiny seahorses to giant whale calves. Readers will discover how sea families feed, cuddle, and play in habitats from coral reefs to polar seas through lyrical prose and breathtaking photos that are sure to delight and educate ocean lovers of all ages. Next slide. Did you know that the African elephant can use its trunk to breathe, smell, lift, and even hug? Or that some octopuses can change their shape to disguise themselves as other sea creatures? You probably do because you are all librarians, but a lot of your patrons probably don't, yet. Packed with incredible photos and fascinating trivia, Coolest Animals on the Planet is bursting with facts that kids will love to share. This is perfect for animal lovers and reluctant readers. This book features a lively selection of cool critters that spark curiosity. It encourages independent reading, and it provides endless kid-friendly knowledge to wow friends and family. Next slide. Switching gears slightly, we have a different kind of nonfiction, A Spark of Greatness, the autobiography of a fighter. This picture book autobiography is the true story of how Layla Ali went from being the daughter of the beloved boxing champion Muhammad Ali to being an undefeated boxer herself by nurturing the spark of something great inside her. A powerful tale of grit, determination, and resilience brought to life with stunning artwork by Caldecott honoree and two-time CSK honoree Cosby A. Cabrera. A Spark of Greatness encourages every reader to find their own spark, trust their power, and let their inner confidence shine. And I will pass it over to Jasmine.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jasmine. I'm a senior associate in the school and library team, and I'm starting off with Hidden Heroes. What do a high-flying stunt woman, a radio astronomer, and a music producer have in common? They all wowed the people in their lives with their accomplishment, but none were commemorated with obituaries in the paper of record. The New York Times overlooked column memorializes people whose contributions were not deemed notable, and at the time because of their identity. This gorgeous picture book celebrates larger-than-life heroes who went unappreciated until now. Next slide, please. Antonia and her magic wand. Ever since she saw her first symphony orchestra as a little girl, Antonia Braco knew she wanted to be a conductor. But in the 1920s, female conductors were unheard of. Her ambitions were met with a resounding chorus of no. Still, she never stopped chasing her dream because she believed in the music within her. This picture book biography about trailblazing Antonia Braco, the first female conductor of the New York Philharmonic's Orchestra, will sure inspire young music lovers to follow their dreams. Next slide, please. When Diego hears Abuela preparing por si las moscas, in case of the flies, alarm bells go off in his mind, and he preps his schoolmates for an epic attack of winged insects, except some phrases don't translate literally. This is a playful picture book that pokes gentle fun at what's lost in translation between Spanish and English, and has enough silliness for readers to enjoy in whatever language they speak. Next slide, please. Mr. in the Stars. Melanie names everything she sees and thinks and feels. She calls her big brother Mr. and her least favorite dinner no thanks. Most of all, Melanie loves coming up with names that make Mr. who is sick laugh. But then one day, Mr. dies. Are there any words to describe what it feels to lose someone you love? Melanie cries tears that she calls ocean eyes. She names death why. As time passes, though, Melanie begins to understand that her brother is still with her, in the breeze, in the stars, and in her dreams. This deeply moving picture book is a great introduction to death and grief. And passing it to Erica.
Okay, The Inactivity Book. From the author of the award-winning book Noodles on a Bicycle, The Inactivity Book is a poetic celebration of doing nothing and highlights the joy of loafing. With Kaya McClear's lyrical voice and award-winning illustrator Tracy Sobieski's whimsical illustrations, it's a fun ode to relaxing in a busy world. Perfect for all ages, it inspires kids to embrace inactivity, encouraging mindfulness and creativity without screens. A charming reminder that sometimes simply being is enough to spark imagination and wonder. Next slide, please. Yum Yum Dim Sum. Join a little shoe on a magical adventure with dragons, dumplings, and a new dim sum experience. This inspiring story celebrates Chinese culture, family, and self-discovery. With beautiful illustrations inspired by traditional Chinese painting, it features rhyming, energetic text, making it ideal for a story time. The book also introduces the animals of the Chinese zodiac, and the author's note provides descriptions, Chinese names, and pronunciation guides for each dish featured. Next slide. Z Unplugged. In her debut picture book, Grammy Award winner and Billboard Gospel Artist of the Decade, Tasha Cobbs Leonard shares a sweet, funny story about the importance of family harmony in a noisy world. The book encourages families to find moments of fun, joy, and unity amidst life's busyness, appealing to both Christian and general audiences. It contains no overt faith content. Next slide, please. Snow Geese Season. a touching picture book about a boy between two homes who finds peace with his grandfather and the returning snow geese. With lyrical writing and stunning illustrations, it explores themes of family, nature, and belonging. This story highlights bird migration and morning birding, offering comfort to children facing change and uncertainty. E.B. Goodell's Windows was Ezra Jack Keats' honor book, and Angela Brickell-Kunkel's debut picture book, Digging for Words, won both the Americas Award and the International Latino Book Award, and was also named an ALA Notable Book and selected to the Kirkus Best Books of the Year list. And I'll hand it over to Katie Halata.
Thank you, Erica. I'm Katie Halata, the Director of Library Marketing here at RHCB, and this is my neighborhood. Follow a young boy as he explores his neighborhood hand in hand with his older brother, Trevor. They share handshakes on the sidewalk, laughter at the skate park, wisdom at the chess table, and kindness at the corner store. Pulsing with rhythm and swagger, my neighborhood perfectly captures the heart of an urban neighborhood and the relationships that bring it to life. With illustrations from Brianna Mukari Uchendu, a CSK John Steptoe Award winner, this book is perfect for readers looking for affirming stories that feature Black childhood from Black creators, and the rhythmic nature of the text makes it a fantastic read aloud. Next slide. Ballet Shoes. For the first time, Noel Streatfeild's beloved middle grade classic Ballet Shoes is available as a beautifully illustrated picture book. Artist Eve Coy brings the Fossil Sisters to life with warmth and whimsy that honors the original text while providing a timeless look that will follow and grow with families. Cuddle up with the youngest of readers to share this beloved tale about following your feet and finding your passions. Next slide. Always by your side. In the frozen far north, a polar bear and cub emerge from their den and set out on a long journey full of both perils and delights. The cub is at first apprehensive, but with the support of her mother gains confidence. When their adventure is complete, the cub knows that she can do anything. This is a beautiful, optimistic, and life-affirming story that reminds us that we can face any challenge when we know that we are loved. Next slide. Would you still love me if I was a worm? Would you still love me if I was a worm? I'd live in the mud, just look at me squirm. A child asks their parent if they would still love them even if they were a worm, a troll, a fungus, and more wacky animals and objects. And of course, mom always says yes. Perfect for children who love to ask strange questions and adults who have to come up with the answers, readers will giggle at the humorous text and illustrations, which grow more and more outlandish with each page. Charming full-color illustrations bring the sweet story to life, and rhyming text and question and answer format make it the perfect book for reading aloud. And I will pass things on to Adrienne.
Hello, everyone. I'm Adrienne Weintraub, and I head up the RHCB School and Library Marketing team. Love is a Shape is a warm, family-centered picture book that celebrates the many ways love is expressed in everyday life, from comforting a sibling to sharing special moments across generations. Gentle rhyming text by acclaimed author Kate Hopfler pairs with Audrey Day's cozy, shape-inspired illustrations to create an engaging read-aloud experience. Its inclusive message about family, care, and connection makes it a strong choice for storytime, social-emotional learning collections, and holiday displays. Next slide, please. Young readers will love this funny and charming fantasy adventure about a prince determined to keep his pet dragon a secret from his dragon-allergic mother, the queen. Filled with magical mishaps, castle antics, and lovable dragon who quickly grows too big to hide, the story offers plenty of laughs and read-aloud appeal. The creator of Margaret's Unicorn brings warmth and whimsy to both the storytelling and illustrations. Next slide, please. Gathering the Light, a thoughtful choice for poetry collections, social emotional learning, and discussions of indigenous cultures. The book encourages readers to approach each day with respect and care. Written by former U.S. Poet Laureate Joe Harjo, this lyrical picture book follows a young girl through the rhymes of a day as she practices gratitude, reflection, and connection to the world around her. Through the text and rich artwork by Mangeshig Paws Steckley, the story offers an accessible introduction to indigenous perspectives on community, nature, and responsibility. Next slide, please. Another poetic picture book. This picture book celebrates the beauty and quiet wonder of winter, exploring a snow-covered forest and the wildlife that depends on it. Text by Kristen Hall and stunning illustrations by award-winning artist Mark Martin creates an immersive read-aloud experience that encourages close observation, mindfulness, and appreciation of the natural world. And with that, I'm going to send it over to Taylor.
Hi, everybody. My name is Taylor Belgrade, and I'm an associate on the school library marketing team at Random House Children's Books. And I'm now going to talk about one of my favorite picture books ever created, and I think also a team favorite. Meet Elaine, a quirky and creative big city chicken with a lot of love for her city. She adores the hustle and bustle, the tasty pizza, and her favorite of all, art. Come along with this curious chicken as she travels through the city in search of what makes a true artist. With a curious tone and a humorous wit, Elaine shares her observations of all different forms of art, making the perfect conversation starter for a creative project or goal. This vibrant and illustrative read aloud is a perfect story to inspire young readers to explore their creative pursuits. Next slide, please. In her uplifting debut picture book, WNBA superstar and inspiration basketball player, Caitlin Clark shows how our family, friends, and teammates are what take us from good to great. This thoughtful rhyming picture book shares a personal message about the foundation of her success on and off the basketball court, that love and joy matters most. Complete with vibrant and immersive illustrations, this picture book is a heartwarming reminder to cherish the ones we love, as our friends, family, and teammates are what help us believe in ourselves. Next slide, please. This collection of Egyptian myths from National Geographic introduces a tale of gods and legendary creatures to a new generation through lyrical, accessible storytelling and radiant artwork. Each story includes sidebars providing historical, cultural, and geographic context, along with resource notes and back matter that guide readers to discover as much as they can about ancient Egypt. This collection of classic stories written by an award-winning duo is perfect for readers who enjoy mythological stories and fables. Next slide, please. It is finally time to hear his side of the story, his being Max. That is right, everyone's favorite sidekick Max, aka the Grinch's partner in crime, is back and ready to be the hero of the story. Get Max's point of view on what happened that fateful Christmas Eve in this heartwarming and vibrant retelling of the classic How the Grinch Stole Christmas. It is time to learn how Max tries to save Christmas and himself from the Grinch's awful plans, and how a shocking but wonderful surprise saves the day and grows the Grinch's heart 3 sizes. Next slide, please. And now to take a quick look at all of our cozy holiday picture books that are coming out in fall 2026, which feature some new and returning characters and stories. And I will pass it to Natalie.
Hi everyone, I'm Natalie Capagrosi, Senior Manager of School Marketing, here to talk about some early readers and chapter books. Starting off with Two Chilly Mice. Beginner books are fun, funny, and easy to read. Launched by Dr. Seuss in 1957 with the publication of The Cat in the Hat, this beloved early reader series motivates children to read on their own by using simple words with illustrations that give clues to their meaning. This new beginner book follows two city mice who escape the freezing winter in the city by hitching a ride to a tropical paradise in the luggage of an oblivious airline traveler. It is a rhymed, simple text and accompanied by expressive, whimsical, and funny illustrations. Next slide, please. And here we have some new titles in our Step Into Reading series, our early reader format. They include Dino Town for dinosaur-loving kids, where dinos live, work, and play. Violet Goes Voting, the story of a little girl going for the first time with her parents to vote. And Cora's Fancy Shawl Dance, in which a contemporary Cherokee girl proudly shares her family's heritage and traditions through an important ceremonial dance. Next slide, please. And we have The Underground Railroad. The story of the Underground Railroad is marked by the incredible heroism of conductors like Harriet Tubman. It is also a human story, one about real families who chose to take the great risk of running rather than being separated from each other, and people who made the hard decision to risk their own freedom to help others in the face of an unjust system. This level 3 reader will introduce kids to the essential elements of this part of our nation's history, explaining the background of slavery in the United States, giving an overview of how the Underground Railroad operated, and profiling famous conductors and freedom seekers. This book features easy-to-read text full of key vocabulary, maps, and photographs that bring the past to life and make history real for young readers. Next slide, please. And we have The Adventures of Adam Raccoon. The extremely popular in the late 80s and early 90s, the beloved Adam Raccoon series has been refreshed to reach a new generation of readers while welcoming back longtime fans. In book number 9, when a boastful bear tries to distract the animals of King's Woods and claim the throne for himself, Adam Raccoon and his friends must decide whether to stay loyal to King Aaron. Paired with the energetic and graceful illustrations from Disney animating veteran Glenn Keane, and interwoven with the lesson of loyalty, trust, and learning how to stand up to bullies, this is a brand new Adam Raccoon adventure you need to add to your collection. Next slide, please. And David's Diary is a series with a compelling format for grades 1 through 4. It is written as illustrated diary entries and has themes of friendship and is filled with humor and heart. David is excited to show off his new iRobotic 3005 at school until a bully named Greg Putnam makes him his latest target. Through diary entries and illustrations, this story explores courage, standing up to bullying, and the power of forgiveness. And I'll pass it back to Michelle.
Thanks, Natalie. Next slide, please. Packed with puns, laughs, and clues, Squirrellock Holmes #2, Mystery at the Corny Maze, is the second book in the Squirrellock Holmes series and a fun pick for emerging graphic novel readers. Ashley Belote she blends a playful mystery with humorous animal characters, inviting kids to solve the case alongside Squirrel and Watson. Its accessible format and fall setting make it especially appealing for young readers. And Ashley is fantastic at school visits, so I encourage you to keep her in mind if you're ever looking for an author to bring into your school or library. Next slide, please. A longtime favorite, Junie B. Jones and Some Sneaky Peeky Spying, is now the 4th installment in the best-selling graphic novel adaptation series. The full-color format makes Junie B's hilarious adventures especially appealing to emerging and reluctant readers, while preserving the humor that has made the character a favorite for decades. This is perfect for fans of The Babysitter's Little Sister and for Dogman. Next slide, please. Hand this to fans of Mexi-Kid, New Kid, and other contemporary graphic novels with lots of humor and heart. Game On, this is the first book in the All-American Persian series. It follows a young student as he navigates middle school, family expectations, and his Persian heritage while trying to fit in with his friends. Funny, relatable, and full of personality, Game On is an accessible graphic novel that will resonate with a wide range of middle school readers. Next slide, please. With stunning full-color artwork and plenty of adventure, On the Edge of the Dark Sea of Darkness is a standout graphic novel adaptation of Andrew Peterson's best-selling fantasy series. Readers are pulled into a sweeping tale of siblings who must face danger. They must uncover long-buried secrets and find their place in a much larger world. This is perfect for fans of Wings of Fire and other epic fantasy graphic novels. And now I'll hand it back over to Jasmine.
The popular thriller webtoon continues. After the worst field trip ever, Ashlyn and her friends now spend nights fighting to escape an alternate world where they're hunted by murderous monsters. It's been a desperate fight, but they managed to stay alive, just barely. But how much longer can they keep this up until something goes horribly wrong? Ashley and the others need to unravel the mystery of the curse fast, but that may not be as easy as they hope because there's more to what's happening to them than a simple haunting. Next slide, please. Marinetta. The webtoon sensation with over 1 million readers comes to print for the first time. Julia is happy with her honest and predictable life, But when her best friend Camille convinces her to visit a traveling circus that has come to their hometown, both of their lives are changed forever. Thrust into a world of secrets and magic, Julia accepts a horrifying deal that saves her from an untimely death. However, in exchange, this honest girl is forced to discover whether she has what it takes to kill someone else. Filled with dark fantasy, adventure, friendships, and a bit of love, there's a little of everything for everyone. Next slide, please. Florencia has had a tough life. Spurned since birth for being an illegitimate child of the noble Lombardy family, she was helpless to do anything but watch as her once great clan fell to ruin and her father died. However, a carriage accident that seemingly spells her end is actually a second chance as she wakes up in the past as her kid self. Now armed with knowledge about the future, Florencia resolves to save her family from ruin. Next slide, please. My Life as an Internet Novel, Volume 3. 3 years have passed in a blur since Danny woke up and discovered herself as a character in a romance trap-filled internet novel. Despite her efforts to stay away from the pretty heroine and the four handsome boys who are meant to compete for her love, she's become good friends with them all. Things only get more complicated at the start of high school when Danny is put in a separate class away from her friends and sat next to a good-looking newcomer, and he seems to be head over heels for Danny. Next slide, please. Who says love can't bloom in the dark? Peppy high school girl Chica and quiet boy Waya seem like they have nothing in common. However, they share a secret. They meet every week outside the convenience store where Waya works. Slowly, the two start learning more about each other. Before either of them knows it, something begins to bloom between them in the moonlight. I'm passing it to Katie.
Hi, you can go to the next slide. From the New York Times bestselling author of Dear Martin comes Deja Forever, a story about the battles we face and the hope that survives. Told through sections of prose interspersed with letters and verse, this standalone spin-off novel follows Deja, the younger sister of Laquan, the protagonist of Dear Justice, as she navigates cancer, family challenges, and newfound friendship. A heart-wrenching story of resilience, connection, and the fight to stay alive, this stunning novel sensitively examines tough topics such as the hardships of incarceration, mental health disorders, and chronic illness in the way only a masterful writer such as Nick Stone can. Next slide. Author Rob Bouya returns to his beloved Mr. Terup series in a warm, multi-POV novel about the fifth graders whose lives are changed by one unforgettable student teacher, one Peter Jacobs, a familiar face from the Mr. Terup universe. Filled with Rob's signature blend of humor, heart, and authenticity, Because of Our Student Teacher deftly explores quintessential themes of childhood such as fitting in, family life, and friendship in an engaging, accessible way that will ring true to parents, educators, and kids alike. Next slide. I am thrilled beyond belief to be presenting this next book. This is the first in an all-new series set in the world of Percy Jackson and the Olympians that explores what happens at Camp Half-Blood during the school year when Percy, Annabeth, and Grover are away, and a new generation of demigods must rise to the challenge. Each of the 4 novels that comprise the Camp Half-Blood series are written by Rick Riordan in collaboration with a different celebrated author, and each spotlights a different young hero. Book 1, The Wild Zone, is co-authored by Annabelle O. It follows Katie Kim, a Korean-American daughter of Aries, newly arrived at Camp Half-Blood, and it tells the story of what happens when she and 4 other newbie demigods dare to enter Camp Half-Blood's forbidden Wild Zone, unleashing ancient curses, bloodthirsty monsters, and a fight to survive. Books 2, 3, and 4 are co-written by Kyle Lukoff, Jade Adia, and Pablo Cartaya, respectively, and we cannot be more excited for you to hand these books to Percy Jackson fans and other fantasy-loving patrons. Next slide. Next, we have another book perfect for fans of Percy Jackson, Quetzal's Labyrinth. This is an action-packed fantasy filled with laugh-out-loud humor, pulse-pounding adventure, and larger-than-life gods. Pura Bel Prey Award winner Carla Arenas Valenti drew upon Aztec mythology and her own childhood in Mexico City as inspiration for this story about a 12-year-old who, after discovering that the ancient gods and monsters in his abuelo stories are real, must journey into a deadly labyrinth to stop a vengeful power before it destroys the world. And back to Erica for more middle grade.
Hey. Mystery James Returns from the Grave. This is the second book in the Mystery James series. Mystery was found as a baby in a cemetery, lives in a funeral home, and can smell ghosts. In book 2, Spring Break turns terrifying when she suspects a ghost has entered her home and refuses to leave. Featuring a diverse cast of characters in a gothic supernatural setting, it offers a fresh take on haunted house mysteries. Author Ali Russell is a rising star in the middle grade space. She has been praised for her earlier work and effortlessly blends humor, heart, and chill. Book 1 of this duology received an Edgar Award nomination as well as a Bram Stoker Award nomination. Next slide. The Creeps. I think the best way to describe this next book is if you were to blend Front Desk and Stephen King. So 12-year-old Dylan feels uneasy about the creepy Goodnight Motel where strict rules and strange owners hide a secret. Anyone who breaks the rules disappears, and Dylan and his mom could be next. Author Taylor Mejia offers a richly atmospheric setting reminiscent of iconic horror locales like the Bates Motel. This novel explores themes of housing insecurity, socioeconomic challenges, and community while authentically portraying Dylan's experience with his mother's chronic illness. Taylor is an acclaimed author who combines suspense, hope, and relatable themes for young readers. Next slide. The Never Fear. The Never Fear is the highly anticipated third book in the best-selling Impossible Creatures series, and it returns the readers to the archipelago with Christopher, Anya, Ratwin, and a host of magical creatures. The story is both a fast-paced, thrilling adventure and a heartfelt literary triumph, exploring themes of endurance, teamwork, and the importance of cherishing what we love every day. Catherine Rundell is an acclaimed author and passionate advocate for children's books who continues to captivate readers with her series. Book 1 received 4-star reviews and was praised by SLJ as a quintessential fantasy that will delight readers of all ages. Next slide, please. Why you should read children's books, even though you are so old and wise. I'm excited to share that we have another book coming from Catherine Rundell this season. It's a celebration in pocket-sized format of joys and the vital importance of children's literature for adult readers. As I mentioned, Catherine is one of the most accomplished modern children's writers, and this book is an extended essay about the pleasures and benefits of reading children's literature as an adult. She explores how children's books ignite and can reignite the imagination, how children's fiction with its unabashed emotion and playfulness can awaken old hungers and create new perspectives on the world. Infinitely wise and thought-provoking, Rundell's short book is the perfect one-sitting reading and a terrific gift for educators and librarians seeking a smart, inspiring defense of children's literature that highlights its importance. This one is not to be missed. And I'll hand it over to Katie Halata.
Thank you, Erica. The Grimlore Game. When wealthy Grandpa Amos dies, all the Devlins come running to his remote Scottish manor for a piece of their inheritance, only to find a mysterious magical game instead. Whoever solves his riddles will win his fortune. As the clues grow more perilous, orphan Kit Devlin learns that there's more to the family curse and her spellbinding connection to it than she ever suspected. The Grimlore Game is the start of a new cozy gothic series that's the inheritance game for middle grade readers and is perfect for those who crave high-stakes puzzles, clever games, and escape room antics. Readers will also find a super cool map of Grimlore Manor, whimsical character art, and puzzle illustrations sprinkled throughout the novel, adding an extra layer of interest to the text. Next. Miss Pennypickle's Remarkable Road Race. From the New York Times bestselling author of the Limoncello series comes the second book in the Miss Pennypickle's Puzzlers series. When Ethan and Benji won Miss Pennypickle's epic quest, they weren't supposed to tell anyone. So when Benji makes a viral video, Miss Pennypickle is in trouble. In response, she launches a reality show contest for $1 million prize where 2 kids must outwit cheaters and solve her epic riddles to win. Perfect for fans of Chris Gravenstein's other wildly popular middle grade series, plus any kid who loves puzzles, games, and codes. Next. Brittle Magic. Newbery Honor-winning author Kate O'Shaughnessy returns with this charmingly quirky novel about family, friendship, and forgiveness. Nearly every member of the Brittle family has an extraordinary talent, except for Shiloh. Her aunt makes pickles that tell your fortune, her great-aunt brews teas that give you good dreams, and her sister can grow pumpkins the size of a small house. When Auntie Dee's fortune-telling pickles reveal that Shiloh does have a talent, and that it's somehow connected to her late brother, Shiloh feels more confused than vindicated. Soon, Shiloh throws herself into the search, but discovering the truth about herself means digging up secrets her mom would rather keep buried. Perfect for fans of contemporary middle grade novels with a hint of magic from authors such as Kate DiCamillo, Rebecca Stead, and Erin Entrada Kelly, plus readers looking for heartwarming stories about family and friendship. Next. Destroyer of Magic. Destroyer of Magic is the third book in the hilarious series that began with the New York Times bestselling The Dragon's Apprentice. Adventure and laughs continue as Scorch the Dragon and his humble apprentice Sierra face the wrath of the Emperor, unravel new secrets, and save magic itself. The modern humor, alternating POV, and accessible length make this series a perfect entry point for reluctant readers interested in dragons, magic, and mythical creatures. The core messages about equality, teamwork, and fighting for a better world will also speak to gatekeepers and kids alike. And now I will pass things over to Adrian.
Thank you. This engaging encyclopedia from National Geographic introduces young readers to the people, events, and cultural achievements that have shaped African American history. Filled with photographs, maps, illustrations, and facts, it encourages both browsing and deeper exploration, making it ideal for curious readers and students doing research projects. It includes well-known figures alongside stories and contributions that might not be as well known. Next slide, please. The Race to the Truth series is a middle grade history series that aims to tell the true history of America from the perspective of different communities. In this, the sixth book, the series turns its attention to the Middle East and its history and how it affects people today, told from the perspective of Palestinians displaced to America. Next slide. With almost 5 million copies sold in little over 60 years after its original publication, generations of readers have now journeyed with Milo to the lands beyond in this beloved classic. Enriched by Jules Pfeffer's splendid illustrations, the wit, wisdom, and wordplay of Norton Juster's offbeat fantasy are as beguiling as ever. We've freshened up the cover and have added bonus materials to make this one stand out. Next slide, please. And to finish up middle grade, here is a slide with 3 of our favorite series celebrating the December holidays. And with that, I'll turn it over to Natalie.
And we are moving on to young adult, starting off with Capsized. Capsized is a character-driven mystery set against the backdrop of an elite all-girls rowing club. In the first chapter, we see a girl drowning in the Charles River before we flash back to the first practice of the season, where a new girl meets the star rower, who has been MIA since the last race of the season. As you can imagine, the gossip about where she's been will not stop. It is a book filled with teen intrigue, but it also tackles perfectionism and abuse in sports. It's a coming-of-age mystery with a dynamic cast of girls that you'll be rooting for from page 1. Next slide, please. And The Age of Fury is the story of 2 unlikely allies navigating Gilded Age New York. Caitlin's twin sister mysteriously left their small town in Ireland for New York City, and after receiving a desperate plea for help, Caitlin crosses the Atlantic to find her. What she discovers is devastating. Her sister has been murdered, and the police have no interest in finding the killer. Someone else does, though, for reasons of his own. That someone is William Fury, one of New York City's most notorious gangsters. Set in 1907, the novel brings readers into a city where gritty streets, Tammany Hall corruption, and robber barons exist side by side. Before long, Caitlin and William find themselves racing between the city's darkest corners and its most luxurious mansions in pursuit of a brutal killer. As the chapters alternate between their perspectives, they also find themselves falling unexpectedly in love. Written by John Stevens, known for his work on television hits including Gilmore Girls, Age of Fury is both a historical romance with curriculum connections and a thriller. No doubt it will be devoured by teen and adult readers alike. Next slide, please. 10 years ago, on Ellison College's infamous Mischief Night, a campus tradition of pranking and revelry, 3 girls entered the woods and only one returned. The survivor's story of a faceless, masked man who hunted them through the forest became campus legend, but the killer himself was never found. Now, the mystery has resurfaced. This is a twisty, dark academia whodunit set at an elite New England college, pairing a compelling Watson and Holmes style investigative duo with a sweet, slow burn romance. Perfect for fans of Karen McManus and Holly Jackson, this is a true puzzle box mystery filled with sharp turns, surprising reveals, and plenty of clues for readers eager to solve the case themselves. Next slide, please. The End of Us. In The End of Us, Sandra Proudman brings a fresh perspective to the growing dystopian romance trend. Set in a post-apocalyptic San Francisco, the novel follows Jules and Rico, an established couple whose relationship is tested when Jules gains access to the Oasis, the last habitable paradise in California, and Rico is left behind. Blending climate fiction, political intrigue, and a compelling romance, this high-stakes story will appeal to fans of The Last Bookstore on Earth, Snow Globe, and the rising wave of dystopian romance. The book's editor pitched the book this way: the world may be ending, but your relationship doesn't have to. And with that, I'll turn it over to Taylor.
You can go to the next slide. Brandon Sanderson and Jane C. Patterson are back with this first book in a new high-flying trilogy featuring all the elements fantasy fans love and cherish. After decades of war, the galactic government determined to oppress humanity at all cost has finally been defeated. However, for Defiant Force flight leader Arturo, freedom is not what he thought it would be. When Arturo is tasked with escorting a diplomatic force to an unknown alien world known as Blightfall, Arturo quickly realizes why the humans on Blightfall have remained isolated for so long. It is then an old enemy makes a sudden reappearance, leaving Arturo in the most dangerous mission yet. This high-stakes fantasy is perfect for fans of books with strong female leads, expansive fantasy worlds, and daring quests. Next slide, please. Parker Hyland has always been the master of his own destiny, carefully planning his escape from his small town. However, when he's told his college application is boring, he's thrown for an utter loop. He finds himself applying to his school's Miss Spirit pageant to spice up his application. It is then when he meets the student body president, Dean, who offers to give him the crash course in all things pageants. As paint splatters and sparks fly, Parker learns that sometimes the best way to win is to play and love by your own rules. This heartwarming and hilarious YA romance is all about the beauty of first loves and perfect for fans of rom-coms. Next slide, please. And now for one of my most favorite titles yet, Time Just in Time of the 40th anniversary of Phantom of the Opera. Aaron A. Craig brings us a reimagining of Andrew Lloyd Webber's Phantom of the Opera, spotlighting Christine as she rises to fame while torn between love, ambition, and the haunting secrets of the opera house. Our Strange Duet is a love letter to the sweeping world of Phantom of the Opera and reimagines Christine's emotions, motivation, and agency, elevating this fantastic classic to create a strong, independent protagonist that YA and crossover readers will love. Prepare for all this stunning yearning and dark romance that make all the theater and romance lovers swoon. Next slide, please. A modern literary tour de force from E. Lockhart, Prince and National Book Award honoree and best-selling author of the global sensation We Were Liars. In a New England town, now long past its Victorian heyday, there still stand 12 pools, sourced by a single hot spring. The people of the town swim there every day. Legend has it, however, people who bathed in those pools turned into birds. That legend is proven true when 5 people enter the water and 5 return as birds. Told through short, poetic chapters, this sweeping love story follows 2 teenagers whose lives and the lives of everyone in their quiet New England town are forever altered by these shocking transformations. And I will pass it back to Michelle.
Thanks, Taylor. Beth Reekles delivers another charming YA rom-com with That Feeling When, a fandom-filled romance that perfectly captures the excitement and awkwardness of meeting your favorite celebrity. Featuring a delightful enemies to lovers dynamic, a behind-the-scenes TV show setting, and a plenty of geeky charm. This is an easy hand sell for anyone who loved fangirl and Dungeons and drama. Next slide, please. Fans of Hallmark movies, holiday rom-coms, and swoony cowboy romances will want to cozy up with Christmas trees and weak knees. Set on a charming Christmas tree farm, this sweet YA romance combines music, small town charm, and plenty of holiday magic as two aspiring songwriters find inspiration and each other. This is an irresistible addition to winter displays and seasonal romance collections. Next slide, please. Fans of Encanto will be eager to dive into Waiting on a Miracle, the long-awaited A Twisted Tale reimagining inspired by Disney's beloved film. This magical adventure follows Mirabel, Louisa, and Isabella beyond the Encanto on a quest filled with family secrets, danger, and self-discovery. This is perfect for readers who enjoy fairy tale retellings, fantastical adventures, and stories centered on strong family bonds. This installment brings a fresh perspective to a world that fans already know and love. Next slide, please. For something a little bit different from the fairy tale, The Gods Will Sing Our Song. This blends Japanese mythology with a real history of Japanese American incarceration during World War II. The Gods Will Sing Our Song is an unforgettable story of love, resilience, and injustice. As two teenagers navigate life behind barbed wire, they become entangled in a magical quest that could change their futures forever. Heartbreaking, romantic, and beautifully imagined, this sweeping novel offers a powerful lens on a darker chapter of American history. For classrooms and libraries, we see this as a compelling opportunity to spark conversations about history, identity, prejudice, and the enduring power of hope. And now back to Katie Dutton.
Thanks, Michelle. Love will be tested in The False Vow, the high-stakes, spellbinding sequel to Lydia Gregovich's The Weaver Bride. A perfect read for fans of The Rose Bargain and Thorn Season, this dark, atmospheric romantasy draws from Rumpelstiltskin as inspiration and features a multi-layered murder mystery at the center that will keep readers turning pages. Full of beloved tropes such as a love triangle, forbidden love, and plenty of banter, The False Vow is at the same time a thought-provoking read with feminist themes and high-stake twists. Next slide. From the #1 New York Times bestselling author and reigning queen of YA romantasy, Cassandra Clare, comes the highly anticipated first book in The Wicked Powers, the final stunning trilogy of her beloved Shadowhunters Chronicles. Fan favorites Drew Blackthorne, Kit Haringdale, and Ty Blackthorne from The Dark Artifices take center stage once more in The Last King of Fairy, which has all the nail-biting adventure, heart-pounding romance, and trademark humor that we've come to expect from a Shadowhunters book. Next slide. Timed to the 75th anniversary of Disney's enduring classic Alice in Wonderland, Wondrous follows a teenaged Alice on a curious new adventure down the rabbit hole, many years after her first visit to Wonderland. As a young woman with limited options in 19th century London, only Wonderland can grant Alice the freedom she craves, so she returns for good, only to meet another real-world teenager, one who claims she is the true Alice. What follows is a fresh take on a beloved tale full of unexpected madness, strange prophecies, and even an enemies to lovers romance. Written by best-selling author Heather Fawcett, perhaps best known for her adult Emily Wilde series, but forever in my heart because of her spectacular middle grade, Wondrous is perfect for fans of cozy fantasy and the Twisted Tales series. Next slide. A housemaid's quiet life is disrupted when the arrival of a mysterious visitor causes her to question the nature of her seemingly charming cottage home in this cozy romantasy with a dark heart. Featuring cottagecore charm, lush scene setting, and slow burn romance in a richly imagined world inspired by Studio Ghibli's storytelling magic, Lavender and Hemlock is a portal fantasy full of whimsy, complex characters, and a sweet sapphic romance. Hand this one to fans of Howl's Moving Castle, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and slow burn love stories without epic stakes like A Fragile Enchantment. And back to Adrian.
Great. Fans of epic fantasy will be eager to pick up the action-packed finale to Maya Ibrahim's Spice Road trilogy. And if they haven't read it yet, it is the perfect time to pick it up and read all three. Richly inspired by Middle Eastern cultures and storytelling traditions, as Imani and her companion embark on their most dangerous journey yet, readers will find plenty of suspense and emotional depth. Next slide, please. Zeba Shahnaz has written the sweeping fantasy that blends political intrigue, magic, and romance in a richly imagined world inspired by South Asian history and culture. When an orphan teen begins to suspect she may be the lost heir to fallen empire, she is drawn into a dangerous struggle against colonial rule and competing visions for her country's future. The novel offers immersive world building, nuanced themes of identity and belonging, and strong appeal for readers who enjoy fantasy with historical influences. Next slide, please. This exciting fantasy by a debut author blends romance, mystery, and magic aboard an enchanted train, creating a fast-paced story that will appeal to fans of romantasy and suspense alike. As Princess Delena travels toward an arranged marriage, she must uncover who is trying to kill her while navigating complicated feelings for her childhood friend and bodyguard. The novel's inventive magic system adds depth to themes of truth, power, and identity. Next slide, please. Looking for something new to add to your thriller collection? We're All Going to Die Tonight traps 7 debate team members and their teachers in an isolated seaside Airbnb during a violent storm where secrets, suspicions, and a shocking death quickly turn the night into a fight for survival. Told through multiple points of view, the story delivers plenty of twists, strong character dynamics, and a compelling mystery that will keep readers guessing until the final pages. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Katie.
Thank you, Adrian. Our dark unraveling. 2 roommates are left reeling when a classmate dies in a freak accident. But when the boy's ghost appears on campus, it becomes clear the dead has unfinished business. And this ghost is just as controlling in death as he was in life. A sinister practical magic for the YA reader, this wickedly twisted contemporary horror will keep readers up all night. Perfect for fans of Don't Let the Forest In, Kill Creatures, and She is a Haunting. Next slide. Our darker act. When high school senior Hazel joins her school's elite theater troupe, the Edgemore Players, all she's looking for is one more extracurricular to add to her packed college resume. This year, the Players are putting on their most ambitious production yet. A tragic romance inspired by local legends of a ghostly huntsman who is said to have once stalked the nearby moors. But when the final production ends in a strange and eerie disaster, Hazel tries to put the experience in the past, until she finds herself reunited with her castmates during a weekend camping trip. Trapped together in the woods, Hazel will have to confront her old friends, and they will all have to acknowledge and reckon with a far deadlier truth, that what they started last year isn't over. Months ago, the Edgemore Players woke something up, and now it won't rest until it catches its prey. Next slide. Insatiable. When Catriona Cameron gets a scholarship to Floodbane Academy, an elite boarding school in the Scottish lowlands that she never applied to, she's not looking for any trouble. But when mischievous dark fairies grant cruel wishes made against her by her classmates, Catriona is blessed with the devastating good looks and unpredictable new powers, while also being cursed with an insatiable hunger to devour anyone who preys upon women. Set in an alternate 19th century where dark magic and male privilege lead to horrible consequences, Insatiable is a chilling gothic horror novel inspired by the cult classic Jennifer's Body, and perfect for readers looking for dark academia with a feminist slant. Next slide. The Lodge. #1 New York Times and USA Today bestselling author Natasha Preston is back with another twisted tale of icy isolation, deadly secrets, and pulse-pounding twists. Haley and her friends wanted a carefree ski getaway, powdery slopes, cozy cabins, endless laughs. But when a storm traps them and someone falls from the lift, their dream week spirals into a nightmare. As bodies start piling up and paranoia starts to take hold, Haley and her friends must risk everything to escape. No one does YA thrillers like Natasha. Almost every one of her books has gone on to become a bestseller, proving that she's a trusted voice in this genre. And I'll pass things back to Erica.
Hey, Malevolent Souls. From bestselling author Delilah S. Dawson comes a gripping novel featuring Disney's dark villain, Maleficent. This young adult horror explores the untold origins of her dark magic, delving into themes of desire, sacrifice, and revealing that evil is often misunderstood. Next slide. Sisterhood is forever. To celebrate this 25th anniversary, we are releasing a limited edition deluxe collector's edition from book one. This special edition will feature a beautiful new hardcover design, sprayed edges, colorful new art for the characters, and features a foreword by actress Amber Tamblyn. This edition honors the enduring cultural impact of this groundbreaking YA novel and welcomes a new generation of kids into the sisterhood. And with that, that was our final title. So that concludes our title presentations for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that you are as excited for all of these upcoming books as we are. And I'll hand things back over to Booklist.
Thank you so much, Random House Children's Books team. What an excellent preview. Tomorrow, all attendees will receive an email containing links to today's video recording, slide presentation, title list, and certificate of completion. For more about Booklist webinars, be sure to visit booklistonline.com/webinars, where you can view archives of past webinars and register for upcoming ones. Are you coming to the party of the century? ALA is celebrating 150 years at our annual conference taking place in Sweet Home, Chicago. Stop by the Booklist booth, number 2826, for free copies of our magazines, including our 2026 Guide to Graphic Novels, buttons, author signings, reader's advisory, fortune tellers, and more bookish swag. Plus, check out the conference scheduler to find Booklist happenings throughout the show, including our audiobook panel, Read and Rave, the Carnegie Awards, and more. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. A huge thank you to our special guests, Nicholas, Max, Suzanne, and Julia, and to our sponsor, the Random House Children's Books team. This concludes today's webinar. See you next time.